Who is standing in the way of Nico Iamaleava in terms of winning the Heisman? I watched Shedeur Sanders last night, and that dude is an elite quarterback. Good for him. You may not like his dad. He has no chance of winning the Heisman because of his absolute lack of protection. They got pushed around at times. He had to overcome tremendous pressure at other times. In fact, he helped himself in looking like an NFL prospect in my mind, but you can't win the Heisman if you're throwing the football from your back, Caleb.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders is. I mean, I know people are going to laugh. It was just North Dakota State. I don't really care. I watched enough of that game last night.
That was a good football team last year, and they're supposed to be better this year. We're going to get to the NC State game. That was fluky-ish, but this wasn't.
No, I agree. Shedeur Sanders is an incredible quarterback. I would, if I'm an NFL team, I would trade up to try to get him right now. But you're right. He's not. There's no way he can win the Heisman. He's good. Dave, once he gets into Big 12 play, he's going to be on his back every play. I'd almost shut down the season if I were him and not even play. Just go to the draft.
I wonder if his dad would do that because that team's not going to win over 5 games at the very most, at the absolute ceiling. Agree, disagree?
I think they can get to 6, but it would be tough.
Okay. I'm not so sure.
Because there's a lot. You got to remember, there's a lot of teams with soft lines in the Big 12 that are really soft up front.
Who else stands in Nico's way? One that you and I disagree on is a guy with a red helmet.
Yeah, so Carson Beck has the second highest Heisman odds wherever you go. He stands in Nico Iamaleava's way. He's roughly like plus 700 to 900 in that range, depending on the sports book you go with. I don't think Carson Beck is going to win the Heisman. I don't think it's possible for a Georgia quarterback to win the Heisman because I don't think Kirby Smart would let them. Kirby Smart's not Nick Saban. He doesn't up the tempo of his offense to score a lot of points like Saban did in 2014 with Bryce Young. Kirby Smart's winning very old school style football. And Carson Beck, while he will be very efficient, I don't think he's going to be able to rack up enough stats. And also, I think that, quite honestly, Dave, I think it's going to work against him that he plays on Georgia. I think there's just too much talent around him.
A couple of things. If he's the quarterback for the national championship team, you're not going to know that at the time, but if he's a quarterback for the number 1 seed, let's say going into the college football playoff, a lot of voters that are lazy are going to base it off that. And I'm a Heisman voter and I stress about it. Spend a couple of hours every Sunday before my vote has to be in, but a lot of people don't. And they're just going to take the easy way out. So I would disagree that Carson Beck can't win the Heisman. I also think he's an incredibly gifted quarterback in terms of touch. So,
can I throw just another thing?
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Yes.
Okay, this is weird, but this is very important for a place like Georgia. I think Carson Beck has some leadership quality issues that Stetson Bennett didn't have. And I think that's more important for Georgia than your actual skills.
Well, to say anybody's as good of a leader as Stetson Bennett would be tough to do. So, but I don't know. Why do you think Carson Beck has leadership issues?
Well,
because he has a Lambo.
I was going to, the mistakes that Georgia made in the Alabama game last year, they wouldn't have made with Stetson Bennett. And the Lambo stuff did kind of, I don't think, I get it. You're a quarterback, you're making an AL. I don't want my quarterback doing that though. If I'm going to be honest, can
I tell you this? I mean, Nico, after he signed the Beats by Dre deal, went and bought a couple of cars. And he didn't flash it everywhere. That's what I was getting ready to say.
Oh, okay.
He didn't flash them everywhere and put them out everywhere. So maybe you're on to something. Maybe as a quarterback, you don't do that sort of thing. I've said before that the offensive guard is fine with the quarterback making more money because he's always been fine with the quarterback getting more attention, Caleb. But at some point, you're kind of rubbing their nose in it if you share your Lambo on social media, right?
Put it this way. The offensive guard is fine with the quarterback dating the hottest girl in school, right?
Yes.
But you don't. But you know what you don't do if you're the quarterback? You don't steal your offensive guard's girlfriend just because you can.
No. I don't know. A player stole the starting quarterback's girlfriend one time, 2 weeks after showing up on campus.
Well, yeah, that's kind of funny. But like, yes, if you're the quarterback, typically the rule is you don't mess with your teammates' girlfriends because you can get whoever you want, and they probably have a less of a selection pool than you do. So that's just wrong. Now, I'm that way with NIL. Like, don't flash your NIL. I mean, Peyton Manning. Let's just call. I know we always go to Peyton Manning when we're covering Tennessee, but could you ever see Peyton Manning flaunting anything he bought if he was making NIL money?
Man, that's a really good point. In and of itself, is Carson Beck a poor leader because he flashed the Lambo?
I get Johnny Manziel vibes.
Wait a second. Johnny Manziel vibes? I mean, Johnny Manziel went and coked himself into 130 pounds.
But, the whole flash in the money sign, just like rubbing everybody's face in it. Now, to be fair, there was some leadership in that way because he was kind of saying it's us, Texas A&M against the world. They're trying to bring us down, and we're all doing this, so let's party it up. So maybe it's a little bit, but Carson Beck flashing the Lambo is, you're right. Your starting offensive lineman can't get that Lambo.
All right, some other guys that could potentially win the Heisman, and give me their odds if you've got them pulled up. 3 names that come to mind: Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, so Dylan Gabriel's the favorite among everybody to win the Heisman this year, and I understand that people are impressed by what was done with Bo Nix last year at Oregon. He was turned into an NFL draft pick, and now he's got the starting job at Denver. By the way, when we thought he was just a total waste at Auburn, so I think people are looking at that and they're very high on Oregon. I got no argument against Dylan Gabriel. I think that's going to be Nico's biggest competition. Quinn Ewers, I think Texas is going to have a bit of a drop off this year. I think they were overrated last year. They got to the playoff because they beat an Alabama team that, let's just be honest, in the first month of the season was not what you would think Alabama is. And so I think that's going to be exposed. Will Howard at Ohio State, better than Kyle McCord was last year, but he doesn't have the receivers that Kyle McCord had, and I think the transfer portal lack of chemistry is going to be an issue. The other two legitimate threats that other people ahead of Nico and other sites, Dave. One is Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. I will say, watch out for him. If Lane Kiffin can make this thing work, Jackson Dart might have a Jaden Daniels type year.
My thoughts on Dart: yes, if it works, could run away with it. Might not be a factor in October. Dylan Gabriel seems like the default to me. He seems like he's sitting there and somebody's going to either take it away from him or he's just going to get it because somebody didn't. Does that make sense? I mean, I think Dylan Gabriel's good, but I don't think he's elite. He'll put up great numbers. We know that. As far as Quinn Ewers, I mean, I like Quinn Ewers. I like Texas. I think they're pretty good this year. But I'm telling you right now, I would put the money on Nico because it's a 16-1. And it's going to change significantly. I just put the link. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to throw, because we talked a lot about Carson Beck. I think Shedeur might be in that category too, by the way. One of the reasons he won the Heisman, he didn't have a lot of help. Maybe one of the reasons he doesn't have a lot of help, he's not a good enough leader to make linemen want to block for him.
No, those dudes were just out physical. I just thought they were out physical. I mean, maybe. I don't know. But that whole team's in dysfunction, and I think you're going to continue to see that.